I've been following this gentleman for several years on Twitter. He's known as the MHP or the mobile home park guy because I started investing in mobile home parks. But that is just the tip of the iceberg. And we were talking, Chris and I were talking before we started recording. He is so far, I've interviewed people like Grant Cardone, Tom Wheelwright. He is probably the most interesting person on paper, and his story is just unbelievable with his daughter and kids and his association with Buc-ee's and all kinds of stuff. So we have I'm really excited about today's show. So Chris Koerner, also known as the mobile home park guy, welcome.
Thank you, Jeff. I'm happy to be here.
So let's start with your daughter. I think that's an incredible story. Not only what happened to her, but also what you did based off of her treatment. So tell us a little bit about her journey with the hospital and that sort of thing, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, so my daughter was born with a terminal lung disease called pulmonary hypertension, which it sounds kind of, innocuous, but it's high blood pressure in the lungs, which means that her heart had to work on overdrive 24/7 so it could get the blood through her arteries. So her heart rate, resting heart rate for the first, 7 years of her life was like 120 to 160, just crazy. So we didn't even know that she was born with this. We don't know where it came from. It's not genetic. She was diagnosed at age 3. It was originally diagnosed as asthma. And it just meant, lots of medications, lots of trips to the hospital. She had to carry around an oxygen tank for years, lots of pills, lots of, ER visits in the middle of the night, until finally it got to the point in 2021 where her oxygen saturation was in the 70s one night.
Wow.
And, it's supposed to be above 95, obviously.
Yeah.
And even she usually floated in the high 80s. And so mid to low 70s was worrisome. And you couldn't even tell. Like her body was so adapted to it. Like we had to check, like she was doing fine. And so we ran her into the ER. And next thing you knew, I was on a meta flight with her to Houston because it was, pretty serious. And so we got to Houston and they said, the only path forward is a double lung transplant, or else she's not going to make it a year.
And how old
And
was she at this time?
she was 9.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah, she
up
was
until
9.
this point, could she play like sports or do anything like that or
No,
nothing? Okay.
she couldn't walk up a flight of stairs without getting winded.
Wow.
Um, yeah, just no energy. And so this was October 2021. And so the doctor said, lungs are incredibly sensitive. It's the only transplantable organ that's constantly exposed to the outside air. So you have to live within an hour of the Texas Children's Hospital in Houston to even get on the transplant list. And so we said, all right, let's do it. So December 19th, 2021, we moved from Dallas to Houston. We put our house on Airbnb because we didn't want to sell it. We knew we'd be back. And we got a rental in the suburbs and we got on the transplant list. And 6 weeks later, we got the call late at night and we went in and she got a double lung transplant.
Now, how many lung transplants in this age range do they do a year?
That's a great question. Well, Texas Children's in Houston does more than almost any hospital. And they do like one a month. So it's not common at all.
Not a lot. Okay.
Uh, yeah. But the surgery went perfectly. Um, she did great, and she's doing great today. It's been almost 2 years now.
Wow, that's incredible. So, so she has like no restrictions. She can play sports or
Yeah, I mean she has to go to the hospital for checkups every quarter. She takes a lot of pills morning and night. Anti-rejection pills and steroids. And then with lungs, it's just kind of a different terminal illness. So she doesn't have pulmonary hypertension anymore, but lungs have a 5 to 15 year lifespan, and they'll do second double lung transplants sometimes if the stars align. The science is getting better. But so yeah, it's a definite improvement, but it's still, you know, we're still just enjoying every moment.
That's awesome. And because of this, you decided to do something yourself, right? As far as a donor.
Yes, yeah. So I about a month after the transplant, I was just on Facebook and I saw that some woman had donated her kidney altruistically, which I didn't even know was a thing. And it just like immediately hit me for whatever reason, like, wow, like I could do that. I could say thanks to her donor, his name was Sam, by donating my kidney to a stranger. So there's obvious, concerns with that. So I spent many hours doing research about, well, what if I need my kidney later? What if my kid needs my kidney? And what if I die during the surgery? And I just learned that it's less risky than a colonoscopy, less risky than childbirth. And there's a nonprofit called the National Kidney Registry that if you donate your kidney altruistically, or as they call it, non-directed, to a stranger, then they will give you 5 kidney vouchers to use in the future. Um, so it actually you're better off protecting loved ones from their kidney failure, having donated your kidney than otherwise, because it's like kind of 5 insurance policies. They'll put you at the top of the list if anyone on your list ever needs a kidney.
What
So
does that include you or excluding you?
that it's me plus 5.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So if something happened to your one remaining kidney, you would be bumped to the top.
Yeah. And I also learned that, kidneys fail at the same time. So in almost every case. And so it's not like, oh, this one went bad. I wish I still had the other one. No, they both fail. Right. So it's,
And you had like a stat about if just, what was it? Something like if just one
mhm,
in 10,000 healthy Americans donated to
mhm.
be like zero kidney disease or something.
Yeah. Which that actually blew my mind.
Yeah.
It just blew my mind. Only like 200 people a year donate a kidney to a stranger. Um,
Wow.
but
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, it's all covered. Like you don't have to come out of pocket. Like they'll pay for your lost wages if you have a job. So to me, I'm just a very logical person, and I had the idea for emotional reasons,
Hmm.
but I had to make the logical decision. And to me, it was just very black and white. Like, why doesn't everyone do this? you know.
Yeah. That's
So,
awesome. There's some people here in our hometown that were similar, kind of similar to you guys, but on the different end, their child, I think maybe 2 or 3 months old, unfortunately passed away,
mm,
and they ended up donating his heart to another child,
hmm,
so of course Louisiana, we're big LSU fans. This other family was, I believe, Auburn. So every
mm,
year they meet at the LSU Auburn game, to see basically, the couple here get to see the life that they provided and continue to provide to
wow,
that family. So it's pretty unbelievable.
that's cool. Yeah, my wife is actually doing the same. So I donated on what would have been Sam's 9th birthday, May 10th, and she's going to donate altruistically on the day that the anniversary of my daughter getting her transplant.
Hmm,
So
that's awesome. Well,
yeah.
that's great. Everybody's doing well. So now let's shift gears a little bit, going from health to let's say mobile home parks. So you
Mhm.
were you investing or in mobile home parks at the time that you moved from Dallas to Houston?
Nope, I had already put that behind me.
Okay, so tell me what were you doing maybe before the mobile home parks, and then what got you interested in it in the first place?
Yeah, so I've been a serial entrepreneur my whole life. It's just what I love. Always kind of starting businesses and projects and initiatives. And so 2010 to 2019, I had you know, at any given time, two or three businesses, some great, some bad, some failed, some successes. And my biggest one was we remanufactured iPhone screens and sold them to iPhone repair companies. So I was just wrapping that up in 2019 when acquaintance approached me. He was a single family investor. He owned about 300 homes, and he wanted to partner with me to buy mobile home parks. I had owned some single family homes. I knew nothing about mobile home or RV parks at the time,
Hmm.
but he knew that I was good at marketing and finding off market assets, and just business. And he was good at fundraising, and he knew mobile home parks, and I didn't. And so,
And
long story
was this
short,
in your area, like the Dallas
yep,
area? Okay.
yep, he lived about 5 minutes from me.
Okay.
Um, and we partnered, and he raised the funds, and I found the parks and hired guys to operate them. And our kind of thesis was parks that were 20 to 80 pad sites,
Hmm.
kind of too big for single family investors, too small for institutional,
Hmm.
and RV and mobile home. We really just cared about the cap rate and the cash flow. We didn't care much about path of progress or the location. Obviously, we preferred to not have septic. We preferred tenant owned homes. We have a bunch of criteria, but really we were buying for cash flow. That
What was your cap rate you were buying at Target?
I mean, there were a few just crazy deals that were literally like 25 to 35 caps, smaller parks,
Jeez.
riskier. Yeah, they were smaller, they were more rural, but they worked. But most were like probably 12 to 18 caps.
And like so for reference, typically right now, multifamilies trading for what, three, four cap, something like that.
Yeah, can't even wrap my head around that.
Yeah, and then you're talking about 20 plus. I mean, that's just incredible. To me, because I started off in multifamily with syndications, actually in your area, in
Okay,
Dallas,
okay.
and a couple of them went full cycle, but now I've just have shifted out of it just because of that reason, and really in the mobile home park and now really in the RV park space. So that's
Mm.
incredible.
Yeah, the 20 plus, those were definitely outliers, right? But
Right.
we were finding some good deals.
Okay. So you did that for how long?
Um, 18 months. So that one, that longer story on how that ended, but didn't see eye to eye with my two partners, and we disbanded 18 months later. So I
Okay.
actually did a long post about that a while back.
And so let me go back. I didn't ask you this. So you went to TCU, is that right?
Got my MBA, yep, in
Okay,
2019.
MBA. So right when you got out, what did you do between? So you did the online businesses. Is that what you did before the mobile home parks?
I was doing business all throughout undergrad and
Okay.
MBA. So it just coincidentally, I got into mobile home parks right around the time I graduated, but not like because I graduated, because it was like a weekend program. It wasn't too
Yeah.
extensive.
Yeah, because I have a 18 and 16-year-old. The 18-year-old is a freshman here at ULM. He plays football, and
Okay.
the 16-year-old is a junior in high school. And I'm always preaching entrepreneurship and trying to expose them because I wish, I had a lawn service, which in high school and college, which really, I think, sparked my entrepreneurial pursuit. But I really wish I would have done the route that you did instead of just, I call it going to prison, for like 8 years, after getting the dental degree and surgery degree. But anyway, it is what it is. But now it's so different because there was hardly the internet back then for me. There wasn't cell
Hmm.
phones, and now, I mean, you just pick up your phone, you can start a business. It's
Yeah.
incredible times we live in.
Yeah. Yeah. It really is.
So, you're not in the mobile home park or RV park uh, business anymore. Is that correct?
So I am somewhat. I own an RV park in Waco, Texas.
Okay.
I just own that with one partner. We don't have any debt on it, but I also consult like kind of ad hoc every now and then. Like I'll do 3 to 6 month consulting projects with, mostly 9 to 5ers that want to, branch out into real estate and buy a smaller park. So
Okay.
that just kind of helps me keeps my skills sharp.
So now we come to the story that I really wanted to talk about. It's probably one of my favorite places to visit. We have to go there when we drive from Monroe to Dallas. We have to stop at the Terrell Buc-ee's for my kids.
Hmm. Yeah,
So
that was the
so
first one in North Texas.
and they're actually opening one 30 miles from me in 2025 in Ruston, which I'm sure you know
Yep.
about that. We actually
Yeah.
got an RV park down in Gulfport, Mississippi, and we found that I think they're opening one somewhere Bay St. Louis or somewhere down there.
Mm, makes
Uh,
sense.
yeah,
They don't have any in Mississippi right now, but
correct. I
it
think
makes
that's
sense they'd put it down by the coast.
yeah, right on I-10, in between, people
Hmm.
going from New Orleans to Pensacola.
Yep.
But so this is just it's wild, it's crazy. Actually, it's funny because before I tell the people what you did, when I was kind of researching after I reached out to you on Twitter about this, I saw your online store, so I had it pulled up on
Hmm.
my phone a week a week before Christmas. So my wife comes in and she sees me scrolling through the Buc-ee's apparel. She's like, "No, no, you're not doing that." So she started laughing. So
Sounds like my wife.
tell us about your Buc-ee's, what you did, your experience. This is incredible.
Yeah. So I I went. My first Buc-ee's was Terrell as well,
Yeah.
um, and I just walked in wide eyed, like most people, just thinking, "This is incredible. This is America. This is Texas. This is amazing. I'm in love." And I we spent hundreds of dollars there, and I just fell in love. And then they opened one in Melissa, which is about 20 minutes from me, and we'd go there every few months or so. And at the time, I had a company called Send Eats, and we did logistics for e-commerce brands that sold food products. So we would pick, pack, and ship orders from our warehouse for other companies. And my business partner, his name's Kirk. He was in town from Utah. And we visited the Buc-ee's in Melissa, and I said, "Man, these guys must just kill it online." Let me look at their website. So I pull out my phone, go to their website. There's no store. And I'm just like, what? Like, that makes no sense. Like, that'd be as if Disney didn't sell t-shirts on their website,
Right.
right? It's like, it's not Disney, but it's like Texas Disney, you know? It's $1 billion company and they didn't sell online. And that just floored me. And so I started reaching out to the
What
founders
what
of
year
this
was this? Do you remember?
2020.
Okay.
This was October 2020. And
That's
so I was cold emailing them saying, "Hey, you don't sell online. We can do all that. Like we can manage because that like of all the things I've done and started, e-commerce is I have the most experience in." And so my pitch was, "We'll do everything. Like we'll open your store, we'll take your pictures, we'll do everything. We'll do it all for you because you need to be selling online." And it was just crickets. They wouldn't respond to me. So one day I had a wacky idea and I was like, "Oh, what if we just did it for them? What if we just, grab the bull by the horns and launch their website for them and bought their stuff full retail and resold it?" And it's like, well, is that legal? And so talk to a lawyer, and it's called first sale doctrine, which just means that you can resell anything you want. You just can't impersonate them or infringe on their trademarks. And so I said, okay. So we started a website. I bought one of everything, took my kids to the store,
Wait,
cost
you
a couple
bought one of
grand.
everything?
One of everything. Yeah.
And how did you document that, or did you did
Hmm.
you video it, or
Well, I say one of everything. I bought one of every snack because initially it was just snacks. It was called beaversnacks.com.
okay,
So we bought one of every snack that had a Buc-ee's logo on it. And so, like, we didn't buy Doritos or Pringles. They sell that stuff, but they're known for white labeling thousands of products, right? So we only bought the Buc-ee's snacks, and it cost like 1,500 or 2 grand, and it took forever at checkout, and everyone was looking at us, and it was stressful and kind of funny. We took pictures and we documented them, and then we brought them back to the warehouse. We hired a photographer. She took professional pictures of everything. We start open a website, put it up on the website, and the very first thing I did was start cold emailing reporters, Southern Living, Texas Monthly, anyone I could get the email address for. And we just said, hey, here's what we're doing. We're trying to get Buc-ee's attention. And we thought internally, all right, worst case, they say, cease and desist, shut this down. Fine, I'll put these in my pantry. We'll eat them over the next 10 years.
Right.
Okay. Best case, we get a partnership with them, or we generate a bunch of buzz for send eats and we find a bunch more customers just from the PR, or this just becomes our own business and we just resell their products. And so to me, it seemed very asymmetric, right? Like spend a couple grand, spend a few hours, launch something. If it doesn't work, you've got a great story. If it works, you've got a great business. And so started emailing reporters and they loved it. And I talked to several of them. And then I got a call from the Buc-ee's lawyer, in-house counsel, and he was basically like, "Hey, we see you. We're not mad because first sale doctrine, but we don't want you to use the word beaver because it's too similar. So we need you to change your name. We need you to add a disclaimer to the logo. We need you to add a disclaimer to every product, and then you're good to go. Like you can buy our stuff. We won't give you a discount, but just don't act like us. Don't overuse the word Buc-ee's. Don't overuse our logo. Like if it's in a picture of a product, that's fine, but just don't use it too much, and you're good to go." So we changed the name, which was fine because we hadn't even launched yet. So we went from Beaver Snacks to Texas Snacks, and then the articles went live, which spawned even more articles, and we did like 160 grand our first month, and that was 3 years ago, and we've been going ever since.
So I guess my question is, if you buy a beaver snack for $5, how do you make a profit?
We Our average markup is 44%. So the
Wow.
cheap stuff, if something's $2, we'll mark it up 200%. If something's, $50, we'll mark it up 30%. But that's our average is 44%. So our net margin, once we're more optimized, which hopefully happens within the next 6 months, should land around 10 to 15%. It's not a high margin business, but and it's operationally complex, but we figured that out now. We've got a warehouse. We do all the fulfillment ourselves. It's now profitable, and it's a good little business, and it's a lot of fun. E-commerce is fun.
So
So,
you do you physically have people going? I guess they still don't have a website, right? Selling? Will they
mm-mm.
ever do it, I guess, or do you know?
I maybe in a decade, but they've shown no indication. Yeah, they that's just their strength is that they're laser focused on opening stores, and they're really good at that. And that's their focus, and that's their core competency, and they know it. And so we do e-commerce, and it's a great win-win because we pay full retail. We're their biggest customer by a long shot because we're only competing with Karen in Omaha, who spends $100, but we spend 50,000 every time we go.
So
So we
how do you have like a just an army of workers that go into Buc-ee's, buy stuff, and take them to the warehouse? How does that work?
Not an army. We've got Allison and sometimes a helper, and she'll bring a big box truck, uh, 1 to 3, 4 times a week, depending on, is it busy season or not. And we'll send them an order the week before, and they'll palletize it, and we count it off. We check it right there in the parking lot, and we swipe our card as many times as we need to get it to go through. Some of our cards have a $5,000 limit, some 10, so we get a lot of points. And we just load it up on the truck, take it back to the warehouse, scan it in, put it on the shelf. Orders come in, scan it out, pack it up, ship it out.
So your wife is doing all the shipping out and stuff, or
Oh no,
somebody else?
no, my wife she doesn't work in the business, so we have like 6 employees, and
Okay.
Allison is our shopper, we call her, and we've got a warehouse manager, and we've got some pick packers, and then I work on marketing, and my partner works kind of on operations.
That's amazing. So there's really no excuse for people that say I can't get a job or I can't make money. If you can
Right.
just
There's
resell that, that's just
exactly.
So tell us a little bit. I mean, if you don't want to disclose your financials, that's fine. But maybe if you want to do in percentages or whatever. So kind of, what did that first year, 2022, 2020 revenue or kind of look like, and what is it looking like now, and what type of growth are you seeing?
2020 was only 2 months. So we did like around 200 grand in those
Okay,
two
two
months,
months.
like the end of November and then December. So we launched at a great time, just Christmas.
Christmas, yeah.
And then 2021 was weird because we didn't prioritize the business at all because it was kind of like a side project. We prioritized our B2B customers because they were sending us big checks, not profitable checks, but big checks nonetheless. And so we had to choose between Karen getting her order on time and our, $1 million customer being happy. We chose our $1 million customer. And so we completely underperformed in 2021. I think we did like $1 million, maybe even a tiny bit less. And so our sales dropped, but we were shipping orders way late. We had mistakes. We had a bunch of refunds. We were just doing a bad job. We had bad reviews and we were just not prioritizing it. So 2022, we were just looking at our financials for Send Eats, and we're just like, man, this is a terrible business. Like, it's low margin, it's it's high tendency for error. It's it's just a terrible, like, you have to be Amazon or don't try, you
Hmm.
know, because we had to invest millions of dollars into automation or charge a ton of money because we weren't automated. And so it's like, I don't want to raise millions of dollars because I don't like this business. But we can only get so many customers charging $5 per shipment instead of $2, like an Amazon might charge. We weren't competing with Amazon, right? But we were competing with a bunch of other 3PLs that have a bunch of automation. And so we just sat down and we had, it was a 7-figure business. We had 30 employees and we just shut it down. We weren't failing, but it was like, this is a single digit profit business for all the headache in the world. And we've got this little Texas snacks project that could probably really thrive if we put some weight behind it. And so we made a very deliberate and hard decision to just fire our customers and to let our employees go and to go all in on Texas snacks. And like, if you were to look at a chart, like, it's very clear when that day was because it just went straight up after that. And we're still like, we're a 7-figure business, but we're growing like 50% year over year. Um, and next, like, we could probably hit 8 figures within a year or two.
Wow, was that quote your kind of your main business that you're doing now, or
It's not
personally?
actually. It's probably my second, you know, my tertiary business. Um, my main business is a company called Mining Syndicate, which is a whole other story in and of itself, where we sell and host Bitcoin miners.
Well, tell us a little bit about that now. Anything else you want to tell us about the Texas snacks, and we'll make sure we'll put a link below this video.
Yeah, I don't think
About
so.
that.
No, it's a good business. It's fun. E-commerce is fun. So
So from
um,
Buc-ee's to Bitcoin mining, tell us about that.
yeah, so I've been in Bitcoin for 7 years. I believe in it. I own it. I'm not like a huge advocate of it, but I just think I feel like it's going to replace gold slowly over time. I don't think Bitcoin will be what we buy our groceries in, but I think it's here to stay. And so, based on that thesis, 2021, summer of 2021, China banned Bitcoin mining, and it
Right.
basically all moved to America literally overnight. And so many enterprising Americans like me or yourself saw that as an opportunity. And I started looking for commercial warehouses to lease that had heavy power. We're talking like former paper mills, former auto manufacturing plants, anything that had megawatts worth of power. And everyone was looking for that. It was very hard to find um, because China just banned mining. And at the same time, it was a perfect storm. Bitcoin was hitting an all-time high. It was getting 40, 50, $60,000. And so there was just so much demand for Bitcoin mining. It was very, very profitable at the time. And so I couldn't find anything on LoopNet or Crexy. And on a whim, I went to Biz Buy Sell and I found a facility for sale. And I say for sale, but it was a leased facility. It was not a business. There were no employees. It was just the right to a lease, 3 megawatts worth of power, and all the infrastructure already there, plus 300 Bitcoin miners already there.
Hmm.
It was just ideal, and it was a great price. And so I bought it. Um, it was 750 grand. This was 2 years, 3 months ago. October 1st, we closed 2021. And the same month that I had to move to Houston with my daughter, busiest month of my life. Um, and it was just right time, right place. And in our first 90 days, we did about 9.8 million in revenue profitably.
Wow.
So that that's my main business today. Um, we're just coming out of a bear market. We shrunk because of that, but we're as Bitcoin recovers, we are as well, and it's going really well.
That's incredible. So,
Yeah,
are
so I
you
didn't even say what we do. Sorry, we sell Bitcoin miners. They're range between $2,000 and $20,000. They look like big desktop computers, but they're very dense. They weigh about 35 pounds, and they one miner requires as much power as an entire house.
uh-huh.
Um,
Do they
and
physically have to be there or no?
um, it's not really something you can plug in at your house because they're loud and they're hot, and they take all your electricity. And so almost all of our customers need a place to put them. And so we put them in our facility. So we sell the hardware, we import them from China, from resellers, and then we sell the services, which is like a monthly hosting fee. So we really make money selling the hardware, and the hosting fee is kind of a break even business for us.
Now, do you have to, and I've heard, and I don't really know a whole lot about these facilities, but one of the things that I have heard that you have to keep them pretty cool as far as the
Mm-hmm.
temperature.
Yes, it is. It is operationally heavy. Yeah, you don't need HVAC, but you need airflow. So we have massive, massive fans that suck in air from outside. It goes through the miners to cool down the boards, and then we suck the air back out the other side of the warehouse.
So would it be more beneficial to have these places up north where it's typically cooler than Dallas or Louisiana?
It's cooler, but the power is more expensive. And so Texas is like the breadbasket for mining in America because our power is so plentiful and cheap, despite the heat. Ideally, yes, cheap power and lower temperatures. But
Okay.
yeah.
That's incredible. So you're kind of mainly focused now moving forward on that business and the Texas snacks, you think?
Yep. And then we've got I own a holdco, and so all of these are under that holdco umbrella. And so those are kind of two of the flagship companies. Then we started a tree trimming business with an operator that runs it full time in Dallas. That's going really well. We're opening two more territories. And then we have a healthcare AI startup that's pre-revenue that helps skilled nursing facilities save money, find more billable codes. And then we have the RV park. So there's kind of five things going on right now, and then I'm always kind of testing other projects as well.
Well, speaking of AI, tell us a little bit about kind of your thoughts on because I'm a big AI person. I'm always using. I mean, I use Chat GPT with all of my giving me ideas for blog posts and YouTube videos and descriptions and Instagram captions and all that. So tell us to me, and I was explaining this to my son's friend the other day. But, I'm a good bit older than you, I'm sure. So I remember pre-internet and what life was like. Yeah, I can still remember sitting in college here in Monroe. I was a senior in 1996. I was in a computer lab. I don't know if you ever watched the show ER.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I remember that was huge back then. Watching
Mm-hmm.
watching ER and Dr. Benton and and all that. Which actually my son's name's Benton, but so I can remember looking over at the computer screen, going, "Wait." what is that? It was a picture of like it was Yahoo. It was the Yahoo homepage. It was like a picture of ER. And I'm like, that is amazing. And that was the first time I ever remember about the internet. So I remember the internet, pre-internet, and I remember what life's like now. I mean, who can live without the internet and you operate your
Hmm.
business? To me, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think AI is that big. It's like
Hmm.
going from, I just don't think people get that yet. What are your thoughts about that and AI in general?
Well, I think yeah, I think the internet is the only thing you could compare it to. I think it dwarfs crypto. I think it dwarfs mobile phone usage. I think that we're so blown away that it can write a silly song for us today, but I think that's nothing compared to where we'll be in 6 months, even, right? Like the power law is just compounding so fast on this thing that I I absolutely buy into to all the hype.
So what are some of the ways that you're using AI or maybe both personally and in your businesses?
We use it for automations a lot. Like in Texas Snacks, we will have it respond to customer service emails for us. So we'll use Zapier to like we'll send an email to a customer after they get their order that will look personalized. We'll say, "Hey,
Mhm.
first name, how's the weather treating you in city name?" And then, everything good with your order? Our response rate's like 30, 40%. They'll respond and be like, "Yes, it was great. Thank you so much." Yada, yada, yada. And then Zapier will send that to OpenAI. OpenAI will craft up a response and send back a response to them. And so that's increased our reorder rate because our customers feel like we're one-on-one communicating with them. And then in our healthcare startup, we our Zach is the operator, and he built this tool where skilled nursing facilities can take all of the medical records for all of their patients. And right now, their biller or their coder is literally doing control find on these PDFs to find things to bill Medicaid for. And they're missing a ton. And so now with this tool, they just upload all the PDFs, and seconds later, it says, "Mhm, here's everything you bill for." And we've done some back testing and audits, and this has a potential to save a skilled nursing facility literally, like, let's say a facility has 100 beds, it can save them 50 grand a month, or make them 50 grand a month more money on stuff they should have always been billing for. So
Wow.
if we can add 50 grand a month to their top line, then what
Yeah.
can we charge for this?
Yeah. 40.
And it's like, and it's not even right. It's not even awkward because it's like, all right, well, now you have to lay off your coder. It's like, no, now your coder is a rock star. She doesn't go anywhere. We just need to teach her how to use this.
You could probably use that
Right.
for hospitals. I mean, the sky's the limit with.
Right. Totally. And it's like something like this in 2 years will probably be commonplace, right? And
I
we'll
know,
probably
I
have
know
a
there,
hundred competitors.
in the dental industry, and there's all, that we, as a specialist, but mainly general dentists, there's always there's actually courses, you go to these dental meetings, you do all this stuff. They're like, they'll bring their staff like, hey, we're having trouble with this code. Or what's the new codes, or they're not doing this code anymore. It's changed. So there's always trying to keep up with it. So I think that would be a potential
Hmm.
as well, you
Yeah,
know?
that's a good point. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
insurance, but the dental industry it's going more towards, a lot of it used to be just private pay, but now more and more is going towards more heavily industry insurance heavily business. So I
Yeah.
think it's just even more important, especially for startups and stuff, to be on top of those codes. A lot of times they're not even charging patients for codes. Like if somebody comes in, let's say with Delta Dental,
Hmm.
and they come in for a consultation, they get an X-ray, maybe they get, exam, maybe they get like a cleaning or whatever. A lot of times, we'll just charge them, or the dentist will just charge them what we think, but we're missing out on all these different
Mm,
codes that their insurance will pay you,
yeah.
so stuff like
Yep.
that. That's just extra revenue that they could do.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. I feel like we're in the early innings of this, so it's exciting to be a part of it.
So anything else on the horizon for Chris Koerner in the upcoming year as far as potential business ideas or anything like that?
Oh, I mean, I'm always like launching stuff and testing concepts, and it's just kind of like entrepreneurship is like a laboratory, and I'm always testing things, and most go nowhere, but every now and then you have a Texas Snacks or a mining syndicate that goes well. So I have a weekly newsletter that I write to that I enjoy. I
Which
like.
is wonderful, by the way. I love it.
Thank
I mean,
you.
you're just uh, an unbelievable a writer, copywriter. I mean, it draws you in. I can tell that you write it, or if you don't write it, you have a
Yeah, no, I do. I do.
it's
Yeah.
very good.
Thank you.
I look forward to it.
Thank you. Yeah, I put a lot of work into it, so it's good to get feedback like that.
Yeah. And I will I'll make sure that I post your sites below this video and then also your Twitter as well. So anything else I appreciate the time today. Anything else oh, one thing that I would like to ask you before we close, with
Yeah.
me having two teenagers, I know you have several kids. People out there that have kids, teenagers, what would you recommend parents do to encourage entrepreneurship with them?
Oh man, I actually have a post planned about this. I just feel like we can't we can't rely on schools to teach this. It's we've seen for decades now that entrepreneurship is you'll find it here and there in little corners, but personal finance, making money, entrepreneurship is just ignored by the school system. And so I feel like it's our responsibility to teach our kids the language of business. Like you teach them Chinese, they can learn Spanish, but I think the likelihood of them needing to rely on self-sufficiency and or buying something for $1 and selling it for two is much much greater than the chance that they'll ever need to use Chinese or Spanish, right? So
Mhm.
if if you are a parent that knows business, then you just talk about it. I think Michael Girdley said this. I love this idea where, and I do the same thing. I'll be driving with my kids, like, "How was school? Fine. What'd you do? Nothing. Anything funny happen? No. Anything bad happen? No." It's like, okay, I want to talk to my kid. This isn't going anywhere. And Girdley's just said, like, just tell them about your day. Like, well, today I got this email that was pretty rough and I had to fire my employee. Why'd you have to fire her? Well, we had this performance review 30 days ago and we set these goals and she's just not hitting them. So it was tough, but the writing was on the wall and she understood. And it's like, oh, and it just sparks all these conversations. And it's like your kids don't know that they're learning business and you're not even teaching it overtly, but it's like osmosis. They're hearing it and they're seeing
Mhm.
it and they're living it, and it's like, I just feel like it will plant seeds that may never germinate, but if the need ever arises, they might at that point, right? Like it's an insurance policy against the 9 to 5 because statistically most people won't start businesses and that's okay. But it's like just like you want to have food storage or guns under your mattress, like you want to have business skills, and that's our responsibility.
How old is your oldest child?
He's almost 14, so he'll be in high school in August.
So do you have any type of uh way like to encourage them to go get a job or start a job or what is your philosophy on that as they get older?
Yeah, so he will work for me at the Texas Snacks warehouse occasionally, um, and they do chores. They get paid for their chores. So they like we're a very entrepreneurial family. My wife is entrepreneurial. She sells stuff. She does real estate as well, and so they're getting it. Like whether it's an initiative or not, they're getting it from us.
Yeah.
But like, I absolutely want them to apply at Chick-fil-A or In-N-Out or wherever they can as soon as they're old enough, which I think is 15 in Texas. Because, like, I mean, we've all seen the kids at Chick-fil-A. Like, I want that to be my kid. I want him to be polite and to handle money and to get written up for something, and to just experience all those things. It's actually, this is kind of a tangent, but in my church, we send kids on missions at 19 for 2 years. And ever since the smartphone came out, the percentage of kids going home early has skyrocketed from like 2% pre-smartphone when I served a mission to 20, even 30% today. And they've done surveys, leadership in my church, and they've done studies, and they found that one of the biggest indicators of success is if they had a job before their mission, like any job, cutting lawns, just like doing something responsible, being held accountable. Um, that's been the greatest indicator that helps like offset this smartphone slash social media society that we live in.
Hmm.
So huge belief, whether they start a business or not, I want them to have a job as soon as possible. That's not for me because it's a different experience working for dad, right?
Yeah, because I can looking back when I started when I started cutting grass, I was just as a kid, you're like, okay, I'm cutting grass. But now that I'm older, I'm looking back going, man, look at all the things. And I was telling my oldest son the other day, I was like, look at all the things that this taught me. This taught
Mm-hmm.
me how to market. I mean, I had to go and the the little things where you would go hang them on the doorknob with the little perforated tear off business card. I got those
Yep.
printed up. So I learned how to market. I had to learn how to sell. I had to learn how to ask for referrals. I had to learn how to run a business, keep track of it. So all the skills that I just kind of took for granted that, and you know what the main thing, Chris, that having a lawn care business taught me?
Hmm.
I never wanted to work for anybody,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And
It's
probably
tough.
you're the same way too. And so
Yeah.
my son the other day, he's a like I said, he's a quarterback here at the local college. He was kind of just thinking, now football's over with, what can I do or whatever? I just don't know. I was like, well, what do you do? And he's like, what do you mean, Dad? I was like, what do you do? He's like, well, I play football. I said, okay, what position? Quarterback. Okay, how can you use that to help others? And you can kind of see the little mouse running
Mm.
on the wheel in his head going, well, I guess maybe I could help other kids. Like, yeah, so I'm helping him, and he started an Instagram page. He wrote up a little business plan. He got his first client, he's helping, kids kind of, you know, 12 to 14, 15-ish that want to be
Yeah.
quarterbacks or
Yeah.
quarterbacks to get better, to train, because you actually have to go to Dallas to go for a quarterback specific training person.
Hmm.
We have to go to Dallas or New Orleans to get that. So,
Interesting.
just encouraging, your kid just to start a business and whatever they know, if your kid's good at math or whatever, they could tutor,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that I think has helped me as a parent, and I'm encouraging other parents as well, instead of just, the typical route, not doing a whole lot.
Yeah. That's a great idea. I like that a lot.
Yeah,
Sounds like you're doing it right.
I'm trying, man. But Chris, I really appreciate this. Again, thank you for your time. We'll put your links below this video. Uh, guys, make sure you sign up for his newsletter. His Twitter is Chris Koerner,
It's just,
Koe.
yeah. The handle is MHP underscore guy, but yeah, the Chris Koerner.
Okay, yeah, MHP, which stands for Mobile Home Park. For those that don't know, MHP underscore guy. Um, Great material. Even if you're not into mobile home parks, this guy's into businesses and all kinds of stuff. So make sure that you follow him on Twitter. Chris, thanks again for your time, and I look forward to doing another call whenever you've have other businesses.
Sounds great. Thank you, Jeff. I enjoyed this.